Hi everyone. Today I am going to be talking about my intentions for Reset 2022. This was a requested video and I will be reading from my journal and referring to some notes. But I had done some brainstorming on what I wanted next year to look like for me in terms of some goals and wrote some notes, free wrote in my other journal, which I've now finished. And so a finalized version, what I've decided on is in my new journal. And it's not overly complicated, but I will say this is not a depth year. And I'll go into what I feel the differences are, but for those who might be unfamiliar with what a depth year is, the short and sweet version is that it's when you go for a whole year and you stop acquiring new things, taking on new pursuits or hobbies, and instead you are going to return to projects that maybe you abandoned previously, hobbies that just kind of stalled for you, books you have on your shelf that have been waiting to be read, things like that, where you feel like certain pursuits have been maybe neglected or put to the side, and you go deeper with those hobbies and pursuits. And so it's about going deeper and not going wider. And so I will leave a link to that original, I think it was like a blog post, an article. And then also, if you just go onto YouTube and do a search for tarot depth year, you will come up with a lot of videos on how people in the witchy tarot verse kind of customized the ideas of the depth year for their own version of the depth year. So for me, I don't view this as a depth year because while some aspects might lend to certainly going deeper, this is not just about that. It's more about succeeding with kind of my targeted intentions, whether that be pre-existing or new. And so, it's with the understanding that these goals and intentions might change over the year, depending on, the situation, depending on maybe how my perspectives have changed. And so I'm just trying to keep things really fluid. It is my temperance year next year. And so I want to keep that in mind too. And that's something that I really want to lean into and practice. The idea is to have small goals and build from there, one on top of the other. So some of these goals are going to be kind of scheduled, if you will, in 6-month increments. And the whole idea is that they are, I guess they're not super lofty so that I'm not setting myself up for failure from the very beginning, which is what I feel like I do a lot of the time, where I establish these really big and lofty goals and try to go balls to the wall, and then I lose steam maybe about, close to halfway through, maybe not even. And so I want 2022 to feel like a success. I want to feel like I am setting myself to actually succeed, to give myself some structure so that I can do that. I have broken my intentions into a few categories, and they are physical health, mental health, tarot/divination, and creativity. Like when I was brainstorming, that was kind of a wild card for me. I wasn't sure, what else that I wanted to focus on. I think this is the year, 2022 is the year that I am going to fucking do something with my manuscript that's been sitting around for I don't know how long. And but I'll get to that later. So creativity, so my writing, essentially, for at least the first half of the year. Anyway, I'll get to that. I feel like I'm not very organized here. So let's just start. One category after the other. So for physical and mental health, I've decided that those, instead of having like two little goals, like one half the year, and then hopefully establishing that, and then adding on another small goal for the second half and layering, right? Which I do for tarot and divination and will do for my creativity category. I have decided to just keep one manageable, smaller goal and stretch it out for the entire year. And because I feel like for me, physical and mental health can sometimes be the hardest things to keep on track with. So for the physical health, I've decided that my goal, my intention is to get at least 15 minutes of physical activity 5 days a week, no matter what that looks like, no matter how I divide that time throughout the day. It doesn't have to be in all one chunk. It can be in several, little chunks throughout the day. And if I happen to do more physical activity, that's fine. It could be anything from just taking a walk, doing some stretching, some PT work, PT strengthening moves that I've learned, things like that. I have felt that 2021, I have been sitting on my ass a lot more, just due to work a lot. I've had a lot more work, and then just, when you're feeling kind of mentally low, you don't necessarily want to do very much. And that I can feel has taken a toll on my hip. So I have an old hip injury, which results in chronic pain. And so my being sedentary and sitting down a lot more this year, I've felt that in my hip. And it really does help me when I am just moving around more on a daily basis. So for me, I feel that 15 minutes of some type of physical activity for 5 days a week is doable. So that I plan to stretch for the whole year and see how I do. Mental health wise, and I don't know, this, like, as I'm looking at this, I thought it was like manageable and doable, but like meditation is hard for me, but that is my goal, that I'm going to meditate for at least 108 breaths once a day. And what I mean by that is I use prayer beads or mala beads to meditate. And this one is 108 beads around. So the whole idea of, using mala beads, meditating or chanting or, whatever. So each bead is a breath, essentially, if you're doing breath work. If, it's different for everybody, but that is my goal. It's my goal. We'll see how I do. But I have loved working with mala beads and using that as my form of meditation. That has been the thing that has worked the best for me, because I'm a fidgeter, and I have found that using prayer beads really does help with meditation. So we'll see how that works out. But that is something that I would like to do or try to do for the entire year. Then we move on to the tarot divination category. And this I have split up into half year kind of increments. So for the first half of the year, I think I am going to try to familiarize myself with the Thoth. I already have the Duquette book. And I have I just bought this mini Thoth deck for really cheap. And I thought that I would just try to familiarize myself. It's not that, frankly, I mean, I'm not really enamored by Lady Frida Harris's art. But for me, it's just more about learning. I feel like this is, tarot/divination. You're forever learning things. And one of my larger goals is that I would like to have a familiarity with the major tarot traditions. So RWS, Marseille, and Thoth. RWS, I have down pretty much, although, forever a student. Marseille, I finished reading the Bendoff book. And so I think that what I'm going to do is, while I'm learning the Thoth and just kind of getting to know that deck and the meanings, I will also be just practicing Marseille. So when it comes to my just tarot practice in general, I will be sure to use my Marseille deck and to just get more comfortable with it for the first half of the year and see if that holds, or if, if I decide that ultimately Marseille just, it isn't for me. So, I mean, I feel like those are doable intentions. They kind of sound like bigger goals when I read them out loud, but in my mind, again, I'm trying to be very, very fluid with all this. And then for the second half of the year, I would like to complete at least one course. I have a few kind of self-paced courses that I've been waiting on the computer for me to do. Tarot-based, astrology-based, and I just haven't done them. And I really want to, so at least tackle one of those. If I get done with one of those courses, then, maybe I've always been interested in doing one of Kelly's Lenormand courses, Kelly from The Truth and Story. That's an idea. But again, I'm not trying to overload myself. So second half of the year, those 6 months dedicated to one course, at least one that I have waiting for me to tackle and complete. And then as a kind of another intention that's running throughout the entire year is that I am going to use only the decks that I currently have. Now, a lot of times depth tier, for many people, their depth tier has involved like a no buy or a very low buy. And for me, I am not establishing a no buy or low buy. If I see a deck next year that I really want to get, I will get it, but it's with the idea that I will not be able to use it in 2022. I have to use the decks that I currently have. Now, the exception would be She of Insight Oracle, which I'm not sure exactly when it's coming out, but if it comes out in 2022, since I'm already aware of that deck, then that one I will be the exception. I do have one Kickstarter deck coming out. I believe it should be delivered at the end of this year, so I should have that one. But if it's late, that one's another exception. But other than that, what I have as of that point, that's all I can use. So for my wild card category or my creativity category, first half of the year, my intention is to finish my manuscript revisions and either pitch to agents or self-publish. I need to make up my mind on that. I'm just so all over the place. But I'm just constantly contradicting myself on what I want to do. I've got to make a decision. I've got to make a choice. But in any case, I need to put a hard stop to this manuscript and just lift this hovering weight on my shoulders to get this project done. So that's the first half of the year. And so I will say this goal is a little more lofty, but it is something that I'm determined to do if it kills me. And then for the second half of the year, I'm just kind of leaving that as a to be determined. Maybe I will want to start on something new. Maybe I will want to take up something that I've put aside before. I'm not quite sure, but I'll hopefully have a better idea of what I would like to do when that time comes. In terms of tracking, I do plan to use my Hobonichi weeks to track my progress. This is 2021's Hobonichi, but I already have the 2022. If you see that little pink thing back there, right there, that's my new Hobonichi just waiting for me. So I will use that for tracking. And then in terms of just journaling and reflection on how I feel I'm doing, it'll either be in this journal or it might be in a separate notebook. I haven't decided. And another thing that I plan to keep up with that I did this year is that in my Hobonichi, I will be continuing my retail temptation list where I write down everything that tempts me, kind of like the frivolous, fun purchases. You know what I'm talking about? Like stuff that I don't need at all. It's just because I want it, because it's fun, because I'm feeling just the urge to shop. Like, who knows? But the whole idea is that it goes in here. And then I will continue to track my various purchases in this notebook like I did this year. I have to say, this second half of the year has been hard for me in terms of, or I should say, like, there have been a few setbacks where I've definitely indulged in retail therapy, comfort shopping. It's been a thing. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just gonna be transparent because I've said before, when it comes to conscious consumption and being really mindful, it's an up and down process. It's not fully linear, and definitely, once again, I can just tell by the notes that I took that I was very much affected by some of the stressors going on. So, still working on that. Still working on that. 2022, going to continue to work on that. Now, there is a Facebook group, a private depthier Facebook group that Jessica Starr from the Story Witch, that's the name of her channel, she created for everyone who wanted to participate in a depthier. I think that was 2018, maybe 2019. I cannot remember. But in any case, I believe that group is still up and running. And while groups like that definitely have their benefits, and I know that a lot of people find value in a group like that, to be able to share their ideas with others, to be able to feel that solidarity with others who are participating in the same kind of thing. I myself came to the realization that a group like that is not the most productive for me. It's not as helpful because just speaking for myself, I need more than just solidarity. I need accountability. I need somebody to hold me accountable. And in the past, I have certainly had friends to be my accountability buddy, like for instance, when I was working on my manuscript, etc. But I found that even then, because they were a friend, it wasn't super hard for me to blow off my goal, kind of blow off the deadline that I had said that I would stick to, etc. And so I have taken steps to have an accountability buddy that is someone that I don't know very well, like we're not friends. And I have hired them to kick my ass. Well, maybe not kick my ass, but just, I've hired them to do the job of what I need, which is, somebody to kind of be on me and be more direct with confronting me or addressing my issues of procrastination, my issues of self-doubt, or whatever it is that's holding me back. Because I'm serious about this. I am very serious about reaching some of these goals, certain goals in particular that have really, once again, been just lurking and making me feel like, I just need to finish this, you know? I'm talking about my manuscript. So that I've put in place, and I'm really happy about that. So some of these things, like for instance, my revisions, my writing, I'm starting that now, actually. And you know, with these other things, I might feel like I don't want to wait till 2022. I might want to get started on them now and see how it goes, depending on just kind of how much energy and, you know, how much mental focus I have. And then if I find that I am wanting to revise some of these intentions, I will do that. But I think that is it for my reset. I hope I explained it well enough, but if not, let me know if I was unclear, and if you have any questions about it, let me know. Are you planning on a type of reset 2022 of your own, or perhaps a depth year? And if you are, I would love to hear about it. So drop a comment below or make your own VR in your social media platform of choice. And I will see you in the next video. So hope you enjoyed. Much love. Take care.